Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming in, first of all.
You're so welcome.
Well, when we scheduled this, I thought you were going to be in the city, and then I felt guilty yesterday when I
I
found
know,
out
but
you
this
weren't.
is a crazy week because I'm in and out of the city so much, and I can't keep my days straight.
Yeah,
So,
that's
and
that's
I'm
a
going to help you out. So I'm like, which way is up,
you
and
are
where
a
am I headed?
traveling circus. Well, we were in the city yesterday because we were wedding dress shopping, which was so fun for a
I,
little Princess
I
Lucy.
did not keep any photos on my photo reel
Who were
because
you nervous you were gonna
I,
send them to
I could
Tyler?
potentially send them to anybody the
Put them
way
on
that
your
I am with my
Instagram?
phone. I don't know. They could go straight to Instagram. So
Okay.
I deleted them all, but I kept one photo that was when the three of you guys were in a formation together and you were walking to the first appointment and you both had like your arms around you all had your arms around each other and you were just, it's the backs of
Oh,
you.
you took a picture of us?
Yeah, I took a picture of you guys
That's very
walking to the first,
off-brand.
very off brand. I found my camera, I located the photo thing.
It's the most off-brand thing I've ever heard of you.
I
Okay,
know.
well, will you send that to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But what a great day.
so much fun.
So much
So
fun.
much fun. I was so happy that I wasn't the one trying on the dresses.
Did we say what we were doing? I forget.
Yeah,
Did we?
wedding dress
Oh,
shopping.
okay.
It's hard when she looks good in every freaking dress.
The wow factor when she tried on that first dress, I don't know whether it was because we do ultimately like the dress,
Right.
but and seeing her in that dress and seeing her in a bride's
It was
dress,
crazy.
it was
Wow.
insane. The three of us were just like, holy
Gobsmacked.
gobsmacked. And then it just continued. It's like
Yeah,
every
not
single
one dress
not
looked bad
one
on her.
dress looked bad on her. I mean,
Even
and
dresses that I hated.
right, she tried on a lot of different varieties, slim,
Yeah.
full, lace, everything. She tried on so much, and each one looked phenomenal.
It was outrageous. Okay. Well, for anyone listening, I want to also just provide the context that you've been on here now
I think
twice, three
twice,
times.
maybe three.
No, three.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
4 Pete.
wow.
You and Lucy are competing. But there is an episode that I will reference in terms of boundaries as a grandparent, because that was a lot of the questions that people submitted. Like, how do you set boundaries with your grandparents or with your parents who are grandparents? And how do they respect those boundaries?
It was a great conversation.
It was
and
a
it was
really
kind
good.
of interesting because we were sort of doing it like for the first time in a way, not
Yeah.
really, just sort of getting into really what it meant. And yeah, and it I would think it would have been really hard for me to do because boundaries are very loose with me. But I think I've done a really good job.
I
I
will
think
say
I'm really working on it.
you're really working on it. We appreciate that. I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle with their parents is that they don't actively work on it. You are set in your ways, however, on certain things,
Mhm.
you are the most susceptible to feedback and change alongside Joe, I would say, of someone I know. Like if I say something to you, I do feel like you're very
Wow.
for most of it. I'm not saying everything. There are some things that you are like, no. But then there are other things where you really do. You're very open to feedback.
Okay,
that-
that's really nice.
Like I think
Maybe
you're
that's
very
because I
open
was
to
an
feedback.
athlete and you always had to have a coach give you feedback. I don't know why.
Maybe, but
I
I
don't know.
just feel you're very open to feedback. And in that conversation, we talked about how to not undermine a parent's decisions as the grandparent. Like,
Right.
Me parenting the way that I want to is not the same way that necessarily you parented us in certain things.
Yeah.
Some are, some are not. And I feel that you have done a very great job of when you do something outside of the way that I would like to do it, when I provide that feedback, you're open to it.
Mhm. But it's also, you also have to appreciate when a grandparent does something that's maybe just a little bit extra special or a little bit on the maybe not you're not like when you take them inside a store that they're allowed to have a piece of something or do a little bit of this, like you have to
But I
provide
don't
a
care
little
about
bit of,
those
I know, but
things.
you have to like be a little bit less rigid about the boundaries. If you can be, you can, let me back up. I'm happy to follow your boundaries if I can have little moments of my own time and my own thing and something that
Totally.
just is with me and the grandchildren.
Okay, however, I don't think I set boundaries on that.
You don't. I'm just saying, I think if people are scared that if boundaries are set, they're going to not be able to freely enjoy their
Oh, you mean like a
grandchildren.
grandparent
Yeah,
listening to
yeah,
this? Yeah.
yeah, a grandparent listening
For
to
me,
it.
my boundaries are more about like the way we talk about things.
Yeah.
And that, like, you can take him to that store next to his ninja class all you freaking want, buy him things. I don't love the clutter of things,
I know.
but they can be toys that live with you.
Yeah. I get it.
So that's not where I care about boundaries at all. But I'm curious, and this was the number one question a lot of people ask, like, what is the difference that you feel as a grandparent versus a parent? And do you love your grandchildren more? And that is more than okay with me if you do.
Wow. Okay. I don't love my grandchildren more than I love my children. No, I do not.
Really?
No, I don't. Because I really believe, honestly, that your heart is big enough to hold as many people as you want to bring in.
Mhm.
And I love really hard. And I feel such great connections with the 3 grandsons and with my 3 daughters. I would never, I couldn't say that I love them more. No, it's a very different feeling.
Can
Now
you
when
try
I'm
to explain the
But what's
difference?
interesting is it's a very different feeling with them being so they're young
Right.
and you guys are adults.
Thank you for
So
that
I'm
compliment.
not really I'm not like I know that I've raised you 3 girls to make the right decisions. That your dad and I have made every investment we could in the upbringing of you guys, that you're gonna make the right decisions. So I'm no longer worried about you guys. And I know you're gonna succeed in whatever you wanna succeed in. I know you're gonna have really fruitful relationships because of how you've been brought up. But with the younger ones, I'm like, I don't feel at that age when I was parenting, I felt the whole world rested on how I parented, how we parented. I was responsible for every decision for that child, and I'm not responsible now for any of those decisions. And there's like a very freeing sense.
Mhm.
So it's not but what's beautiful is now in both stages, I'm not feeling
Just changing the
I'm
settings
not
of time.
feeling responsible, like, for
Yeah.
your decisions. You guys are making great decisions on your own, and I trust that you're gonna parent these kids similarly or within at least the same set of values. And so it's like this great spot where I'm not, like, overly concerned about my kids or my grandchildren. I'm just happy to be with them.
It's
And
just
just
fun.
so much fun. It's so much fun. And so I guess, yeah, sure. When you guys were younger, I was worried about, how are you doing academically? Are you on the right track? How are you doing athletically? And I'm not going to worry about those things for your kids. I'm just going to experience what they have and what they like and what they want to do.
It's freeing.
Yeah, it's like so freeing because it's on both ends. It's really cool.
What do you find is the best part about being a grandparent? And someone asked, what do you think the hardest part about being a grandparent is?
Um, the hardest part is not being with them 24/7. I mean, literally, like I could I could insert myself into Maddie's house, into your house, into Lucy's apartment, and be perfectly happy just spending the next
No, I
month or
know.
2.
I think if you
I love it.
if
I
you
just love
lived
it.
in
I
your dream
really
world, you would live with us.
I would. I would. Now, I know that's not reasonable, but, I it's fun. It's fun.
So
What was the
that's the
question?
hardest part.
That's the hardest part.
what's
The hardest part
best
is not being with them, and then the best part is it's really fun now to see a whole world ahead of the grandchildren and to see them experience things for the first time
Yeah.
and to see their imagination and just to tap into how different they are.
Mhm.
I think when I was raising, when Judd and I were raising 3 girls, I think we probably raised you all pretty similarly and didn't really differentiate on how we spoke to you based on your own personalities or how we um, encouraged you to do things. I think we were pretty consistent. And I don't know whether that's fair because I think that looking back, every individual is different. And every
Yeah.
individual responds to something differently. Maddie's son, your sons, they're all 3 really different kids.
Yeah.
And it's fun to sort of experience them on their own level from where they're coming from rather than where you think they should be or where you want them to be. And
Mhm.
that's very freeing for anybody to have a relationship like that.
It's so interesting because I remember asking you that when I became a parent because I guess someone must have said it to me. I only had 1 kid at the time.
Right.
but the concept of you have to raise every kid differently. Maybe it was because Maddie and I were talking about how we were raising our kids.
Yeah, and I never learned that information. Like somebody forgot to tell me that because me and my sisters, I have two
You
sisters.
feel you
I
were all
think we
raised
were
the
all
same?
raised very similarly. Yeah, I do. I mean, we certainly had similar paths.
Yeah.
We all were young athletes. We all did well in school. We all went to the same college. I mean, it's
Right.
kind of odd.
It is odd. I
It's
mean, the
it's a little
three,
weird.
like
Yeah.
if you look
Yeah.
at me, Maddie, and Lucy,
Yeah.
we all kind of went to, well, I mean, that's normal to all go to the same high school or
Yes. Yeah.
schools because you live in
Yeah.
a town, but
Yeah.
like lacrosse was all of our lives. We all went
Yeah.
on to play lacrosse in college. Like that was very much like, this is what you're doing.
Right. And I don't know whether Lucy really had a choice in that matter because she was just taken along on that ride.
I don't
And
think she did.
yeah, I don't think she did. And I don't know
I mean,
that that's
ultimately she did, which is why she
yes.
stopped. And honestly, same with Maddie.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yes. Yeah. But being an athlete through high school and not maintaining it through college is a different story. Once you get to
yeah,
the collegiate
I just
level,
would be
if you're not
curious.
like 100% committed to it, that's
Agreed.
That's just
I'd
not
be
the right
curious
thing
to
do.
ask Maddie that of like, or Lucy, because there were things that she was more interested in, but I just feel like Maddie specifically was way more academically interested.
Mhm.
And would she have wanted to maybe put more time into other things outside of lacrosse?
Yeah, maybe.
I'll ask her.
Yeah.
In terms of raising the three of us, I've had a lot of questions for me, but I'm also curious your take because a lot of people ask this also. Like, what do you think it is that has allowed us to have such secure relationships that have continued as adults?
You mean between
You and
children?
me,
Yeah.
you and Maddie, you and Lucy, like you're very close with all of us, and we're a very close-knit family.
Yes.
I think way closer than most. I know that there are other people who are just as close, but I don't think it's necessarily the norm. It's what we see as the norm because
We
it's
see
what
as
we have. It's what our
right.
family has. It's what
Right.
some of my friends have. But when I share it on social media, people are like, whoa, like you spend a lot of time with your family. You're really close. Like, and I think a lot of people who are listening who are young mothers like myself eventually want that. Like the ideal is that your
Right.
kids come back.
Of course. Of course. And I
Was that
think
like an active thing that you and Dad talked about?
I think Dad and I talked a lot about kind of creating an atmosphere at home that would encourage our children to want to bring their friends. And I think that was always a case. We were always the house that had the parties. We were always the
Always, yeah.
house that had the sleepovers. We were always the house that, entertained people. We entertained, we had parties for other people that weren't even in our
Right.
family. And I think that, and I also think that having, three girls, that could either be a disaster or it could be amazing. I think that we always showed up. I think our family shows up.
Mhm.
And I think that you feel that when you walk into our family that you're going to be taken care of in a way that not like taken care of, but like that if you will be heard, you will be seen, and if something happens to you, you will be taken care of.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that you can feel that, I think, when you enter our family. And I think that like I think it's incredible that some of our relationships with other families are so strong and so intact. I mean, I just was at my best friend's house for the weekend with her with her 2 daughters and son and a new baby, and it was like the most glorious time in my life
Well, they're
because
like your kids.
they're like my kids.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of those relationships. So I think that we've mirrored a lot of actions on really values. Dad and I talked about values a lot. We talked about honesty. We talked about loyalty. We talked about having fun. We talked about being compassionate. We talked about, being aggressive in when you want something, going after it. So, and maybe every family says, well, sure, I want those values too. But I think we did talk about those. And so those things, when we made decisions like, do we want our kids to be athletes? Like, yes, we did, because we thought that provided, especially girls, a sense of confidence, a sense of, a sense of feeling how strength and physical activity can empower you. So those were conscious decisions that we made.
Yeah.
I made a conscious decision to stop working.
I want to get into that.
So,
But I feel like I've just been reflecting on it, interestingly enough, because as we moved to our home and then as you sold our childhood home, there's been a lot of my thought process around
Sure.
like, how do we create a home that feels the way in some ways
yeah,
that our house felt
Right.
growing up. Like there are things that I loved about our childhood. There are things that I want to change, and that's
course.
fine. But overall, the fact that like so many of my friends still want to spend time, like that's what I think is not normal. Where like I'm not going to a lot of my friends' parents' houses to hang out with them.
I know.
But all of my friends are like,
I
when
know.
can we come to the beach? I want to see Cindy and Chad. Like, and it's not just that it's not that they want to just be by the beach.
I know.
It's that they want to be in our house. And I think that that's weird, but amazing.
I love it. I mean, I love that about
I'm
all of
sure
your
you
friends. I
do.
mean, I love that. I love that.
And I think Lucy's friends are all the same
Yeah,
way. Maddie,
yeah.
I think a little less because she went to a boarding school, so it was a little different.
Sorry. Yeah.
But I think even just the fact that like we come to the house so often and we want to spend time there. So it's something that I've been thinking about
I think
a lot.
I do make it fun when people are
You
there.
do.
I have a lot of
Of course you do.
food,
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
a fun
drink.
time.
I have a lot of fun.
Lots of edibles
We
being
have
thrown
lots of edibles being
around.
thrown around nowadays.
I'm curious in that sense of like forming secure attachment with your daughters and fostering those relationships so that like when we were older we wanted to come back. I will say from my perspective of like what I think kept me coming back is yes, there were times where sure you guys were hard on us and you demanded certain things,
Mhm.
but I also felt that you said the word honesty, like I could tell you anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was never really getting in trouble. Like I could tell you something, and even if you weren't happy about it, there was never that lying or like I have to hide this from my mom.
Isn't
Never.
that amazing? I don't
Nothing.
think I wonder about whether your sisters would say that, but I don't think there's many. And it's weird because I've said the same thing about the way I was brought up
Yeah.
by my dad. I had no secrets from him.
None.
None.
There was, I mean, technically I lost my virginity. I didn't tell you, and
Yeah.
then I kind of lied and said I was like planning on losing it.
And then you did.
Well, but then I told you later on
Yeah.
in life. I was just like early on.
Yeah.
But I think that like there really were few secrets at all in our household.
Secrets scare me so much. They bring such anxiety to me
Okay.
having a secret. I can't imagine having a
Yeah.
secret.
Even like with drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
very much open. You know, if I was going to a party, you were like, will there be alcohol? I'd say, yeah. We were very upfront about things where you said, like, okay, fine, there will be alcohol, but no hard alcohol.
Yeah. And
And
I don't
we agreed to that.
It's interesting because I thought I was doing the
Right
right
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I still think I was because kids are going to drink.
I think you were too, because we would have found alcohol no
You
matter
would have
what.
figured it out. and
Someone
I
would have
felt
taken it from their
yeah.
parents.
And I felt like I at least had control over the situation.
You took the
And I
keys.
took
You
the
said, there's
keys
just
and I
beer.
took-
Everyone's
yeah,
sleeping here.
Right. And as a result, people were mostly, I mean, there were a few times when it got a little bit out of hand, but most of the time it was just really a great time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I do have a now that you are not drinking.
Yeah.
And Maddie is drinking very little.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I put you guys in a position where it was so acceptable that now you're like pushing back on it.
Not because of that, if you want to get into it. Like,
Yeah.
not because it was accessible. I think that that was one of the best gifts, because when I went to college, I was never like, and neither was Maddie. And I don't think really Lucy would say she was either. Like, I was never the girl that was like getting blacked out, had to be taken care of, like was a
Right.
mess and was like, oh, alcohol, and like didn't know my limits. It was very much just like, okay. And that's how it
It's not
always
saying
felt.
you didn't drink. It's not saying you didn't party.
No, of course.
It's-
But
yeah.
I think because it had been accessible to me, I was just like, yeah, okay. It wasn't this forbidden fruit
Right.
that you
Right.
hear so often happen
Right.
to kids when they get to college.
Right.
And I think
Well, I think that's like a lot of stuff we talked about. I mean, sex wasn't a forbidden fruit.
No.
Drugs we talked about a lot. I'm so grateful that
Your
all 3
honesty is
of
the reason
you.
I never did coke.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful you
Like
guys.
no, but honest, like, wait, I wanna let's actually say that though, because I remember you telling me, and this is a perfect example of honesty and
Yeah,
like it all
yeah.
on the
I
table,
remember. I know what you're
of
gonna
you
say.
being like, I loved cocaine.
Yeah, I did.
You were a Wall Street banker in the 80s, so like to no surprise, it was happening. And you were like, you will love it. You have addictive traits like I do. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was everything I wanted.
Yeah.
Because it would keep me up. I'm always tired.
Yep.
It was like it was everything that I could have envisioned wanting in that point of a party. And because of that, I was like, I'm not going to do it because I won't be able to stop.
So, hey, great parenting on my part.
No, but I do think that that's an example of like honesty.
Right.
I learned we're very similar in that way.
Right.
When it comes to drinking, I think the pushback, I will only speak for myself, not my sisters. Part of the reason, yes, that I don't enjoy it or have an interest in it, if I'm being totally honest, is because I think that it has been a little, not abused, but I think that like I don't love how it brings out certain things in our household.
Right.
And therefore, I don't want to play a role in it. And I don't want that for my future. Is that fair to say?
Well, are you specifically
Does that hurt
talking
your
about
feelings?
me?
Yes.
So, okay.
Do you disagree?
Well, because I think that, most of the time, I mean, and this is odd. I don't think this is normal
We don't have to
behavior,
talk about this.
but most
also,
of
if
the
you want
time when
to.
you guys were all at, when we're up late,
Yeah.
I mean, it's changed a lot since you guys are parents.
Yeah.
Clearly, because you got to be up at 6 a.m. and so do
Mhm.
I sometimes. So it's helping me a bit. But, most of the time that we were up late or partying, it was with your friends, Lucy's friends, Maddie's friends, and us.
Totally.
I
But
mean, it was
we're
very
young.
rarely. I know.
So I think
So,
that's what
I know.
That's what it is. I think because you're so young spirited, you see all of us as equals.
Yeah,
maybe.
I do, which is really bizarre.
It's not. It has its pros and cons. And I think I realized that we're not.
I actually forget what generation I'm in. And
That's what I'm saying.
I've said it before. I almost
You
said it.
said
the
you were a
other day.
millennial?
No, I almost said the other day something about somebody's child, but it was really their grandchild. I don't know. Like I forgot what generation I was in, and I was making myself the younger generation.
Of course you do. You're trying to say Lou. She's a cousin.
Yeah, I just forget. But anyway, I think also, well, hey, let's give a shout out to me, who's like,
Shout out.
yeah, that
Love
says
shout outs.
that I don't think I've put any pressure on you to drink.
I think in the beginning there was some, and maybe it was pushed back because you felt like it was misdirected at you, which I don't think it ever was.
I don't think that.
Yeah. But I think that did play a role, but it's not because of the accessibility of growing up at all. I think that only helped us.
I think do you want me to be totally honest?
Go.
Okay, I think why it actually scared me when you stopped drinking. It brought so much to my attention, your head injury.
Oh.
That it made me so anxious about it that maybe, and part of it was you were not feeling great using alcohol, and maybe that does have something to do with head trauma. I don't really know.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe made me anxious about your decision because it brought to the forefront that there was potentially an issue.
Okay.
So it scared me.
That's fair.
And then I turned it around and said, like, wow, how amazing that this individual can choose a path for her that makes her feel better. And now I'm completely supportive of it. And I also don't think that, I think the tenor of our household has changed mostly because of kids. Like,
totally.
You're going to bed earlier. We're going to bed earlier.
Yeah.
We're waking up in the morning early. And so, you don't have time for all that.
I mean, that's literally one of the reasons I stopped drinking. I don't have time to be hungover.
I know.
Like, absolutely fucking not. It's the last thing I want to do.
I can't imagine being you and hungover.
I'm curious in terms of how you feel you guys fostered sister relationships, because that was another question I got.
Well, let's start from my sisters.
Mhm.
Okay. So I have two sisters. The middle daughter
Which is
were,
why I think we vibe so well.
yeah, exactly. My older sister's 2 years older than me, and my younger sister's 4 years younger than me. And we all went to the same college.
Play the same
We
sports.
all played the same sports. We all sort of received similar accolades throughout our lives. We all went on to do very, very different
I was just
professions,
gonna say
very,
that,
very
yeah.
different professions. I think we had such a strong love for our parents, and the way Dad parented us with such unconditional love and just such gratitude for us being in his life. We always wanted to come home and so
Mhm.
we, even though we lived in 3 different states, I was in New Jersey, my older sister was in North Carolina, Sally Lou was in Chicago. We made time to come back to Nana's
All the
house,
time.
Christmases, holidays, and
Oh, we know.
Dad always, yeah, right. And I mean, we had a saying. It's like, that's my
That's my
sister.
sister.
That's my sister. Like, you do not diss my sister. I mean, my sister, I think I've already told you this one, that when somebody smacked me across the face in lacrosse with a stick, Susan came off of the sidelines and punched the girl. So, I mean, that's
I
my
mean,
sister.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, like, it's literally, that's my sister. We would do anything and everything for each other. And I think you guys saw that mirrored. I
Mhm.
mean, you saw that relationship, because look what's happened with you and your cousins. Very few people are as tight with their cousins as our
Agreed.
family is. Now, some of it's because a lot of people have traveled through New York, and that's made it easier to do that. But being being close to your family is so freaking easy, and people create such conflicts and are so stubborn, and it pains me to see families that are not close
Yeah.
and struggle, because it's a lifelong of I feel just so happy and so grateful. And yeah, there was hard work put into it, but it's also, it's like, I feel like I'm reaping the benefits of it so much right now,
Mhm.
watching my 3 girls, and you've all chosen great partners, and I love how you're parenting. You're teaching me new things. It's a really cool, it's a really fun time.
I think we were raised with absolutely that's my sister. Like that was engraved in us.
Yeah.
Ingrained in us
Engraved.
from a very young
Not engraved.
Yeah. From a very young age. Lucy and I have talked about it in an episode where like I pulled that card on her one time when we were fighting. But it's so true. Like I can say something about one of my sisters, but if you say something, like no.
Right.
Not you. Another
I know.
human.
Right.
And I would do anything to protect them. I also think there's, yes, that's my sister, but you and Dad never badmouth any of us to the other. Like, even if I'm fighting with one and I'm really frustrated and I call you to bitch about it, you would never, and I don't know if this is something that any parent would do,
Well, that's really nice to say that you're saying that. I would hope I wouldn't.
I don't, but maybe
But
there
no,
are parents
some
who
people
would.
are,
Like,
sure.
you would never be like, oh, yeah, well, Lucy does blah, blah, blah. You're like, well, what did you, like, it's always directed at the daughter you're talking to.
Right.
Even though I know if Lucy called you, I'll just use this example. Say Lucy and I are in a fight. If I call you to bitch about it, you're going to tell me what I should be doing differently, even if you side with me.
Right.
Because I know if Lucy calls you, you're going to tell her what she can do differently. You're never going to say, well, that's how Cammie is, or Cammie does that. It's just like, well, what can you
Look
do?
at
Or
yourself,
maybe
and
you
let's
should do
figure it
this.
out.
Like you and Dad never, even when I want you to so badly, because I know I'm in the right. And I just want confirmation that like I'm not crazy, you won't do it.
I mean, that's certainly not conscious.
Oh, really?
No.
Interesting.
No. I mean, I don't have a don't badmouth my kid
but
zone in my head.
It drives me insane sometimes. But I also think there were times growing up where, I'll take Maddie and I, for instance, like we did not get along for like a period of time. And I remember you locking us in my room. I vividly remember this, being like, you are not allowed out. I mean, technically you couldn't have locked us because the door.
We didn't have locks.
No, mine did.
Oh,
but it
door
only
had a
locked
lock.
from the inside, but barely. It's like that old
Yeah.
door. And you were like, you were not coming out of here until you're friends. I don't necessarily think that helped us, but
Was there any physicality? I once got in a fight with my sister.
Maddie will tell you that I beat her up, and I never did.
Okay.
But I think that whether it worked or not, there was the underlying statement of like, you will be like, you're gonna get over this,
Yeah,
because
right.
we're not
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah,
this
we're
as a
not
family.
we're not staying in this space.
Yeah, this is not where
No,
we
no,
live.
No.
What did you find was the most enjoyable, if you can remember? Because I feel like the memories are
Memory's going.
well, yeah. But what did you find the most enjoyable phase of parenting?
See, that's where I get. That's where I don't know how to explain it, but each phase just brings such new opportunities
Mhm.
and so many different ways to experience things that, I mean, I can't tell you. I loved it when everybody was, all in one room and you were 5, 3, and 1 or whatever.
That
But
was never the
then
case, but
I
that's
know
okay.
that would never be the case. I can't do the math that quickly. But like then all of a sudden I
1,
loved
6,
when you
and
were in
8.
school and it was so much fun to watch you in school. And then I loved when you were on the fields and
Mhm.
athletics. Then I loved all of a sudden college was so much fun to watch you guys.
Mhm.
And then spending time with you and your significant other, and then spending time as a family and watching you guys your careers and seeing what your choices you're making. Like every single step of the way, if you're blessed,
Yeah.
and I feel very, very blessed, has been kind of a newfound fun way. So I don't really regret a lot. I don't really look back a lot. I don't look back and say like, oh God, it was so hard. Oh God, I wish I'd made a different choice.
Well, I think that's because Dad is very forward.
He's very forward.
He will never look back.
He will never ever
Yeah.
look back. And I've, sometimes that's frustrating because he thinks my looking back is being indecisive. So I think I've been trained not to look back
Mhm.
by him. We've been together since we were 15, so that's a lot of not looking back.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I'm sort of off topic. I think we make good decisions, the two of us, Judd and I together, that I don't have a lot of things. I can't think of, except for doing cocaine, anything I regret in my life.
Really? Do you regret doing coke?
Well,
No.
I regret smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
But-
there's one thing I
yeah,
could change,
yeah,
it
yeah.
would be that.
That's
But
it.
you stopped.
Yeah, I know. Hip,
I'm
hip,
really
hooray.
proud of you.
It's not that I smoked a lot, gang. Okay.
Gang. But you're also the reason I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. So
Boy.
maybe if you had never smoked, I would be
That's
smoking
right.
cigarettes.
That's right.
But what was I just gonna? Oh, but I texted you the other day because I feel very nostalgic for the present,
I know.
and I have a really hard
Okay,
time.
nostalgic for the present. You're scared that it's going to flee away?
It's just like
Because I feel like that.
I'm more so with our toddler. He's just in this age that I'm obsessed with.
So you want to freeze time.
And I just want to freeze time because I know it's going to get better and it's going to bring new, and not better. I know it's going to bring new positives
Right.
and there are going to be things that I'm going to love even more. But I'm just like, the fact that you're not always going to be this little delicious thing that I want to eat. And I'm sure I'm going to feel this way about my baby. I just really love toddler. Like I'm more of a toddler parent than like a newborn baby parent.
Right.
Yeah, that like scares me, and I cry about it all the time because I feel like I'm living in this moment of my life that I'm going to look back on. Someone commented on my TikTok that was like, when the birds are when the wind hits the right way, I know that like I have this out of body experience, that this is the moment that I'm going to look back on when I'm older, and I want to sob just saying that. Like, and so when we're outside and we're watching them play and we're having fun and the music's playing,
Yeah, it's like you want to take a picture and just say, don't ever, ever, ever change.
Don't forget it. And I think that's also something that triggers me of my memory and like brain trauma, that kind of stuff. But I texted you and I said, do you ever wish you could go back? And I was kind of surprised you said yes. I was hoping you'd say no.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was just being flippant, I guess. I was trying to give you an answer you wanted to hear so that you didn't feel alone.
But like, because I almost feel like you're living your best life now.
I feel like I'm living a great life right now. I feel like I'm living a great life because I have a lot of opportunities and options to do what I want.
But if you could go back to any period of parenting, is there a moment that like sticks out to you of like, yes, that was a time where I just wish I could live a day in?
I don't know about that. We also had kids that were very different ages.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
there was
hard.
8 years of apart from top to bottom. So there was never the time when everybody was,
Yeah.
young in the house together. So I feel like no particular moment where of time where, I mean, you always are happiest when everybody's, moving forward and feeling happy and feeling joyful and feeling grateful. So, but I can't say to you, oh my God, I wish I could go back to when I first bought the babies home, or I wish I could
Right.
go back to, you know, when you guys were in college. I mean, I really had fun when you guys were in college. That was really fun.
Mhm.
That was
I
really,
mean, there
really
wasn't a
fun.
period where we were
No, you were
all in
all in
college
college, right?
together, but yeah,
Right. So I think it's a little,
it's hard because we
yeah,
were in such
right,
more specifically, Maddie and Lucy were always in such different stages
different
of life.
stages of life. Right.
What was the process and transformative experience like for you going from a very intense working mom to stay-at-home mom? Because like you really went from 0 to 100.
Yeah. And it was
Or
interesting
whichever
because it
way.
was still, I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but I think it's a lot better. But there was still this kind of like, are you a working mom or are you not a working mom?
There's less of it now because there's so much gray area.
Exactly. So
Like,
you
for
can be
instance,
working from
myself,
home. Right. I mean, but the
like,
fact that you'd even think that you're not a working mom, I mean, you're a full-time working mom.
yeah, that's my own
I know
shit.
that's your own journey you have to go through. But
But I think there's just way more gray area than
yeah,
what was it happening in your timeline. And I think there was more intense discrepancy between the two, whereas now it's totally a scale
yeah.
and
I mean, I remember we lived in our apartment building and we had great friends above us and below us. And
we were in New
this
York.
was when I was working. Um, and I remember the other two women were not working at the time. And I remember coming home to the nanny and then bringing the kids up, if I got home at a reasonable hour, and then somehow going upstairs or downstairs and
Mhm.
we'd be with the other mother. And I remember the moms, those, particularly one of them, looking at me like, you've been gone all day. Yeah, you're happy to see your kids. You're having fun
Right.
with your kids. I've been here all day long. I'm ready to go crazy. I'm sick and tired of this. And then I, on the other hand, was like, well, I've just been, banging my head against the wall with, 40-year-old white men who all
Yeah.
they want to do is make money and call my shit out because I'm a girl. And I come home and sometimes my kids don't even want to see me. Like they were
Did we
they were
ever
excited to
do
be with the
that?
nanny.
Were we more excited to be with the nanny? Like, did
Um,
you ever feel that way? I have no memory of this.
yeah,
by
I
the
know,
way.
isn't that, which scares me. That freaks me out that you have
Don't
no
even get me
memories.
started.
That
Because I
can't-
was my
can't handle
toddler's
that.
age. So
Like,
he's not going to remember
anything.
anything
Like
that's happened this
Liam
far in
remembers
life.
nothing about what I've done with him
No.
or dad. Like that's impossible to me.
But it's
I mean,
creating the foundation,
yeah,
but
it's
it's
creating the
not a
foundation.
true memory.
And then
He's not going
through
to.
photographs, if we still have photographs and not just images in our wallets, we can
Images in our wallets.
photos. Like, in other words, I think a lot of memories that you didn't
Are from
know are from photographs.
The only
So-
memories I have in my childhood are
Right.
stories that I've learned through a photograph.
Through photographs. That's what I'm
That
saying.
terrifies
That's what
me.
I'm saying. Right, right. So I'm hoping we're taking a lot of photographs, which I think we are.
I do.
Um,
Okay, but was that a thing? Did we prefer our nanny sometimes? Like, do you remember feeling hurt over that? Do you remember those emotions?
certainly you obeyed the nanny more and you were more easily transitioned from one place to another.
With her?
Let's get the shoes and socks on, we're going to a play date, like
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. When you were younger, that
You don't remember it? It's okay if you don't.
yeah, not really. I don't think
That's good.
I don't
It
really
didn't leave a
think.
scar.
Yeah, I don't think I was never felt that I was less than a
Okay.
nanny. No,
Okay, but
I was grateful because they provided a lot of much better structure and manners than I ever would have.
when you experience this with the two women, and I'm assuming we're talking about the two women who are still very close with in
Yeah,
your building,
yeah. Well, yes.
is it not Debbie and Dawn?
No, Dawn didn't live in our building.
Oh, okay. So I
Dawn
was
was in the next door
wrong
building.
about whoever
Yeah.
was downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you felt Did you feel judged? What did you
Yeah,
feel
I
in
felt a
that
little
moment?
judged. I felt a
Okay.
little judged. And I think it also it also highlighted the fact that it's nice to get out of the house
I mean, yeah.
because
Yeah,
I was
it
coming
is.
home excited and they were like ready to scream.
Yeah.
But
There's a real difference.
yeah,
You
there's a
have
real
time for
difference.
yourself. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. It's so dependent on the person, but no matter what, I think every single mom benefits from time for outside of
Absolutely.
the house.
Absolutely.
Whether it's working, doing
Absolutely.
something for herself, whatever
Absolutely.
it is.
Absolutely.
Um, what was the transition like though for you? Like
Um,
to go cold turkey?
so I think the transition was
Because I think about this a lot. How the fuck did
okay.
you do this?
So I had a huge going away party, a retirement party at age 36. The
Okay.
dad threw that was really, really fun. And I was ready because I was really, really, really torn between wanting to be with my kids all the time and
Mhm.
wanting to work. And it was really evident that I was not going to really be successful doing both in
Okay.
if I really wanted to be a top investment banker, which I felt like I was, but I was already starting to transition into more managerial roles
Mhm.
at the before I left because it was less travel and it was less being,
Yeah.
I was also a more senior person, so I wasn't necessarily the one doing the spreadsheets at 2 in the morning. So as I got older, had a more reasonable schedule, and as I transitioned more at the last year and a half into more managerial and oversight, I had more time to be with the kids. So when I think the best thing that happened, the very best thing was when I stopped working, we left New York.
Was that like right away?
No, it was actually 6 months, 7 months, I think we were in a rental
Okay.
because we were looking for a house and we
Yeah.
were, whatever, and I think that if I had stayed in New York and been a non-working mom, I I don't think I would have been happy. I just do not think I would have
Mhm.
been happy, and I think the change in locale and the whole turning my life completely upside down, going to the suburbs, I think that helped because I wasn't sitting watching the New York scene go by and watching the
And wishing
people
you could be
and
doing
wishing I
things that
could be
you used
doing
to
it.
be able to.
So, I think
I get that.
so I threw myself into PTA stuff, I threw myself into parties, I threw myself into, um, you know, taking you guys to all of your activities,
Mhm.
and, I mean, we had babysitters, but we really didn't have, like,
No,
consistent
I've thought
babysitters.
about this a
We
lot.
did have babysitters,
We had
but
babysitters, but they were more so that
they would
we
take
could
you
all go to our
somewhere. Yeah,
practices,
exactly.
or so that Lucy didn't have to
Right,
spend all day in the
right,
car after
right,
school.
right. So, I think I became pretty, I mean,
And Dad was never home.
Dad was never
Like,
I mean, let's
I
just
wish I
say
could just
when
rewind,
I
like,
when
so
I
badly
know.
to watch 24 Hours.
When Joanne and I think, your mother-in-law,
Yeah.
I think this is my recollection, but I don't
Okay.
know. There was something called the pancake breakfast.
Yes, I remember these
And that
vividly.
was at
So
Johnson Park in lower school.
to give
So
context, Joe and I, for anyone who does not
yeah,
know this information, my husband and I grew up in the same town. Our parents knew each other. Our older siblings were in the same grade. We all went to the same school.
and you went to all to the same elementary
Yes.
school. So there was a pancake breakfast,
Mhm.
and it was to raise money for the school, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. Everybody came in the morning on a Saturday,
I
and we had
vividly do remember
and we
these.
had like all the picnic table or the lunch
Mhm.
tables, and parents came and kids came, and somehow I decided that it needed to be themed,
Mhm.
and I think it was like a winter wonderland.
Oh, I was thinking of a different one.
Well, there's many. I did like a lot of them.
Mhm.
And at one point, remember that lamb that existed outside of the wool shop on Nassau
Yes.
Street in Princeton was
Yes.
like a full-size lamb
Yes.
or sheep,
Sheep.
rather. I remember I thought it would be a great idea to like use it for the day and put it in the cafeteria. And then we were all dressed in like all the women who were serving on the PTA were all dressed in like winter hats and muffler. I mean, then one time we did something where I did the tablecloths were all astroturf.
That's what I remember. It wasn't the
AstroTurf?
tablecloths. I think the ground was all AstroTurf.
No, I
It's
think it was
where I
the
got the
table.
Michael Jordan cardboard standout that was in my room for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
I won that. There was a
Okay, there
lottery
was a lottery and you
at the
won
pancake
that?
breakfast that had like sports memorabilia things.
Yeah.
And there was a life-size cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan. Maybe it wasn't a lottery, maybe it was a decoration and you had bought it, so you took it back with you. But it was in my room for 10 years.
And then I really got into party planning. Like, I mean, we
Yeah,
had
you did.
spa parties for like 4 or 5 years where 35 women would come to a home and each room would be like a different
thing. I mean,
a
your
massage,
Oscars party?
Oscar parties.
Yeah,
My
it was
God, when
crazy.
everybody dressed up. And so one of the really, really hardest things that I had to do, and it was really emotional for me when we packed up the house, is I had probably, I don't know, I mean, a stack of hard paper folders
I mean,
of
that's
every party I had ever thrown.
why?
From graduation parties to prom parties
Why?
to parties for our baby sisters to graduation
Babysitters.
parties to weddings. I mean, and I swear to God, Cami, it was this high.
I believe you, but why do you have these folders?
Well, and now we just weirdly enough, I threw them out. I literally tossed them in the dumpster because I knew that I did not have space for them in a New York apartment or down at the beach.
You don't need them.
And and guess what just happened? I go to Judy's this weekend, my best friend, and all of a sudden I see this like denim little side bag, cross bag that she's wearing that says King Ranch on it. Her last name's King. And I'm like, you still have that from our spa party? That was probably in 2003.
It was after 9/11.
It was after 9/11. And she was like, yes. And she goes, Cece wants one so badly. Can you find out where you got them? And I'm like, oh,
but
because I could have opened up
emails
back then. I could have opened up my book folder and it would have been right there, the source and everything.
Okay.
So, well, that's a bummer.
Well, we're talking about the ridiculousness of your party planning and just you.
Yeah.
What, like, the most asked question is like, how is she so fabulous? I'm actually curious. Like, what what goes into your brain when you're like getting ready or something? Because you're really mixed messaging. And I said this to you yesterday, and I don't think people understand this who don't know you. Like, all of my people in my life understand this because they know you. Like, you would be dressed to the nines, looking like a diva, but you'd be pulling up in your Suburban that hadn't been cleaned in fucking weeks that we like lived out of. There'd be Tupperware in the back seat with spaghetti from dinner Wednesday night and like silverware, everything. Like, the mixed messaging. Yesterday, you're in this gorgeous Dolce & Gabbana dress, these beautiful shoes, a leather jacket. You look outrageously cute, and you pull out your hair, and you're using a old COVID mask sleeve as a hair tie. Like, you're just.
Don't you like that though?
I do. I love it. I love
that's
it.
Really cool.
I do too.
I think to be a person of contradictions is fun.
Okay, same.
So I like it.
But I'm curious, like, what goes through your brain when you're getting ready or when you're buying? Like, where is your style and desire to look that way from?
Okay, well, my style comes from my mother, clearly, because Nana's the diva, and that TikTok of hers got 800,000 views or something obscenely.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Just because you said that.
Yeah.
Someone asked, would you ever want to be an influencer?
I think I would be so scared of doing something wrong. I don't think I could.
That's not what I would thought you would say. Okay.
Because I fear that I don't have boundaries.
It's more
filter. To not say things or not do things. I don't know what I would be influencing on.
Well, you would do like outfits. Like, there are people your age.
I know. And I follow some of them.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'd ever want to be an influencer. I like being on camera. I like when I like when you put me on camera. I mean, it's fun. But I don't know, I don't think I have a particular style. I think I'm pretty eclectic in my.
It's the mixed messaging.
Yeah. But even in my, like yesterday, I found, I'm sure people know this. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it correctly. Nil Loten.
No idea.
Okay, she's a European brand. She's always like in the streets of Paris, and she's in just like baggy jeans, a really great leather belt, a beautiful blazer, and like a white
I
t-shirt.
feel like that's Judy.
Yeah. So I've now, this is my new look. I almost wore it today. So
Okay.
I wore that the other day going on the plane, and Dad was like, "Whoa, you look like you're right off the streets of Paris." And I'm like, "Okay, it's cool. I like that." And I felt so cool all day long. And I think fashion just can represent your
You sound
personality.
like a little girl.
I mean, I know sometimes that you guys think I'm too matchy, like when I come out with my, pants, shirt, and jacket that are all flamboyantly and patterned.
No. That's not
Or
what
I
it is.
mismatch.
It's not matchy. It's what you say it about Nana.
That
You
she's in
think Nana's in costume.
Yeah,
There are certain things that you pull out that I'm like,
I'm in costume.
you look like you're in costume.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I will say I think I'm a really confident person.
You are.
I don't worry about necessarily what people think of me, and I think maybe my contradictions help people like me, because I think it's like, if I was only one way and they didn't like me, like I offer a lot of
There's range.
opportunities. There's range. I
There
can
is
I can go
range.
dirty Jersey.
Shout out Carrot. You
I
can go
I
dirty
can go
Jersey.
so dirty Jersey.
You do go dirty
And
Jersey
I can
sometimes.
go, upscale to whatever.
Upper West Side, New York.
Upper East Side.
Oh, sorry.
So
Yes.
I think that there's range to my personality. I think there's range to my style. And so somebody's going to find something that they're going to
Connect
appreciate.
with? Okay.
Yeah. Something that's going to
So you felt like fashion, I mean, I know this, but fashion was always at
Very
the
important.
forefront because of Nana.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
like we know.
yeah,
And she
absolutely.
has her ways.
And she kills it.
Yeah.
But she's much more attached to her things than I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's my rebellion against, like, she really, I mean, she
Isn't
could
it funny
talk.
how we do that?
Yeah. Is that funny how we rebel? Yeah.
No, I'm being serious.
Of course.
Like
I literally, if you said to me, my closet,
I've said it.
whatever, I don't feel attached to
No,
things.
I've been like, can I have that?
Yeah.
And you're
and
like,
I just
sure.
say, fine, take it. So I don't know what that has to do with anything, but
But I'm saying the rebelling aspect is interesting to me, especially when you think about it in fashion ways. Okay.
Yeah.
Nana, going back up
Right.
one, was like, is obsessed with fashion, obsessed with the way she's looking, like really deeply cares about that.
Yeah.
Will spend weeks thinking
Yes.
about what she's going to pack for something.
Yes.
And feels deeply attached to the actual physical
Product. So
item.
if she misplaces it, oh my God.
It's
It is.
end of the world.
It's the end of the world.
And you will always hear how long she's had something
Yes.
for where she got it.
Yes.
And you get really annoyed by
I
it.
do.
And I remember you calling me recently being like, I'm going to fucking lose my mind, which is so funny to me to hear you say that because like I forget that you're a daughter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Of course. Yeah.
there's this
of
TikTok
course.
trend that's like, I just realized that my mom is actually just a girl going through life for the first time,
Yeah.
which is so true.
It's
like,
so
you've
true.
never been.
I've never been where
You're
I
going
am now.
Yeah. Really puts things in perspective. But then I think, so you've rebelled in the sense of like, you love clothes, but you have zero attachment to them.
Zero. Right.
And then I feel that I've rebelled. I think if you look at all three of us, me, Maddie, Lucy, we've all rebelled in our different ways
Right.
in terms of fashion. But I feel I've rebelled in the sense of like, I don't want to care about looking done up. I want to just be able to walk out the door like
Right.
fast. I just want to go.
Okay. But here's the thing. I am the fastest getting ready. Getting ready.
Okay.
I literally
In that moment, maybe, but think about how Mom, think
Okay.
about what we
You're
hear
talking
when you're
about-
going to a wedding for months before.
Okay, those are like important events, especially Mother of the Bride wedding.
Okay.
I mean, that's
I'm putting
important.
that aside.
So,
I'm putting
yeah.
that aside.
yes,
I'm
that
just
I
saying as a
care about.
guest.
It's also a really hard thing to.
Okay.
Fine.
We know.
But I figure I'm very quick at like putting it on, getting ready.
You are. I guess that's not what I
I
mean.
don't-
It's more so like, I don't know. There is a rebel. I actually, my solo episode that will have come out
Yeah.
a week before this actually talks about this. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't pinpoint it. Maybe it's feeling like I had to look a certain way to like meet standards or to satisfy, whether it's
Yeah.
actually something that you said or society or projection.
I tried really hard not to do that because, Nana has specifically said, I like you better when you look good.
Well, yeah.
So that's,
No, you
and
let
I
me dress
really tried hard not
in
to
boys' clothes
put
until I was in
that
4th
onto my
grade.
kids. And that was that was intentional.
Mhm.
But are you enjoying becoming more fashionable?
In the sense that I'm enjoying dressing how I wanna dress, if that makes sense.
But you have had a increased, at least from my perspective, an increased
Interest?
interest.
Yes. I've had an interest because I think I've found the ability to be like, it can still be interesting and I can still feel the way I wanna feel.
Yeah,
Like, Jess is like my style icon.
right. Of course.
Duh,
Why wouldn't she be?
of course. And so I've been talking a lot with her about it, where like both of us, like me being in a dress is not the norm right now. Like I do love this dress. I don't feel myself in this outfit right now. Okay, this is
You look
actually
so cute.
a perfect example.
Look at those shoes. Look
Jess
at
picks
those
them out.
shoes.
This morning, I had a full anxiety spiral. And like I hate that my brain does this. I don't know if it's anxiety, I don't know if it's ADHD, I don't know what it is.
Right.
I picked out this dress last night because I was like, oh, I'll throw it on. I was actually going to wear my Adidas Sambas. Okay, I'm just
Okay.
going to set the stage for you.
Yep. With that dress?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think it would have looked really cute.
Yeah.
Then this morning, I had to be out the door by like right before 8. So it was rushed morning. I threw it on and then I was like, that little voice in my head was like, should I appease my mom and just put on heels? I actually don't think I like these heels with this dress. I would like these heels with a pair of cute jeans and a white t-shirt tucked in.
But I think it looks really
and a
good
belt.
with that dress.
But I don't
Really
feel
good.
myself. So I regret that decision. Then to take it a step further, I get to the train station and I realize it's fucking full outside.
Right.
And everyone is dressed
I didn't know that either.
in
I'm surprised I have a jacket on.
and a cute
Right.
like sweater
They've
or
transitioned
jacket.
into
And I'm
the
like,
fall.
I'm
Right.
so mad at myself.
Right.
I'm like, I wish I was in jeans and a hoodie or an oversized
Well, aren't you
sweater
glad
and
you had
sneakers.
the sweater on?
Yeah, yes, I grabbed this as I was running out the door because Joe, when he walked Charlie this morning, was like, "Oh, it's sweatshirt weather," and I was like, "Fuck!"
Right.
Then I couldn't let it go. I could not let it go. The entire train, like first 15 minutes, I was spiraling. I'm like, I'm so mad at myself. I hate my outfit. I'm texting Joe. He's like, take a deep breath. You can't change anything about this. Like, you look great. Like, talking me off the ledge, like he has to do every goddamn day. And I'm just so angry. And I'm like, if I had just worn like a sweatset and sneakers, I would be happier.
And you're blaming it on me?
No. I'm not.
I didn't make it 60 degrees today.
This is the epitome of our relationship. I'm not, but in my head, I'm beating myself up for wanting to dress a certain way to appease you.
Right. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
Because I like you when you're in your
I know you do, and it's
jeans
not
and
your
your
fault. It's my
everything.
own thing.
I know.
And you know what? No matter what we do, our kids are going to go to therapy about us. Like, I'm well aware of that.
Right.
My kids are
we're
going to be
not
like,
perfect.
this bitch smothers me.
Right.
She won't leave me the fuck alone.
That's right.
Of course. I know it. I'm trying hard not to. But like, I'm well aware already, no matter what we do. And like, I think I had this realization when I was talking with one of my best friends where I was saying, we were talking about the way we were raised. And I was like, yeah, well, I always felt like there were really intense expectations set on me and like I had to be the best. And she's like, yeah, well, I was always told I was the best and I wasn't. So now I need constant validation.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
Telling me I'm the best.
Like, you can't win.
You can't.
You can't win.
No matter what.
As long as you have a good heart and you love your kids and you provide for them, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, but like they'll still need to go
they'll
through
still
something.
need to go to therapy. That's
okay. Do you have any closing remarks that you want to make?
I'm just so. I'm really, really touched.
Are you gonna cry?
Yeah, I'm just.
What just happened?
I'm so
I've
touched.
never seen you cry happy
by
tears.
my family. I'm just so, and the extended family. I'm just so grateful to be in a place where I feel so much love. I feel so much compassion. I feel so much support. I mean, everybody just supports everybody in such unbelievable ways.
We do.
And
including the in-law, like
that's
everyone.
kind of like showing up, right? The in-laws, like the only thing that I'm struggling with, and I really admit this, I'm not spending enough time with my friends.
Yeah.
Because I just want to be with my family. Now, luckily, they're going through similar transitions. They're having grandchildren, and they start feeling the same way. But because Judd is now home more, and he was traveling his whole life, we're doing things together like 24/7. We're always together now, which is wonderful and like so cool and such a great stage in our lives. And to be able to, oh, let's go to Cammy's for the afternoon, or let's go to Maddie's for the afternoon, or let's go into New York and see Lucy and Tyler and take them out for dinner. Like that level of freedom is so incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
And I just am so like epitomized yesterday when I see the 3 girls that I brought up, that I birthed, that I brought into this world, being so supportive of each other, telling each other how beautiful and hugging and saying, my God, you look so gorgeous. And there's no competition.
None.
Which is a big, big thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to get into this before we go, because
I think it's very interesting.
I think competition off of the field.
I was just going to say, coming from the most competitive person I've ever seen.
I think competition off the field is, and jealousy is just jealousy. Whenever anybody in our family showed one little moment of jealousy, we'd sing that song, Jealousy.
But I always find it funny when
like
you and your sisters will sometimes get jealous of each other. And that is funny for me to watch.
Yeah.
Like, not over serious things, but like when Susan pulls out her guitar and she's playing, you're like, you motherfucker, that's my thing.
Yeah, but
like,
I say that to her.
No, it's not hidden.
Like,
it's
passive aggressive. I hate passive aggressive. I fucking hate it. But what were you talking about? Jealousy. And so I really think that when seeing yesterday, the 3 of you guys walking arm in arm to do something really profound, go wedding dress shopping for the youngest.
Profound.
Well, it is profound. It's
a big milestone.
It's a big milestone. Like I really, as I was driving into New York, I was like, I need to soak this in. Like this is my last daughter. This is the last time I'm going to go wedding dress shopping. And to see like the love and the support and the fact that we, loyalty just plays such a big role in our life, in our family. And like I've never seen Judd jealous of anybody. That doesn't mean
get jealous.
And when you're not jealous, you can be so supportive. You can be so supportive, because if you don't feel that, you want to feel good for other people, what they're experiencing. You don't ever want to, your paths are all different. Everybody's different. You're all going to get to different places at different times. And I don't want anybody to say, oh, well, you have a lot, that's why you're not jealous. Everybody's got somebody who's got more than them.
Yeah. I mean,
so
you can always play the comparing instinct.
Yeah. And I've never been, and I think that's also been a really, really strong foundation in my marriage. Because I never have been jealous. I've never said like, oh my God, he's going away and he's traveling and this and that. I mean, it just never occurred to me to be jealous. I don't like jealousy.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Doesn't mean I don't want more for myself.
No,
I'm always on an upward trend of what I want to do better.
Working through my thoughts. I think for our family, what is the most, maybe it's, I don't know if it's different or what's helped us, is like there are moments where we will, it's not even jealousy because I feel like it's spoken out loud.
That's what, right.
So it's like, what the fuck? Like it's the joking manner of the feelings aren't like intense and we're not hiding them and we're not like keeping them intensely.
I mean,
it's
like
more
you see,
just like,
you see one of us post something that's like incredible. I think the support that in our group chats is like amazing.
Of course, but I mean, like there's
but
always
we could
be
do
that level of
like
Sally Lou's family's pictures. Okay,
yeah, well, yeah, I am jealous of that. Okay, I am jealous of the fact,
which is so fucking annoying,
that my family has now like literally
no, because of you.
I know
because you like you
everywhere Sally goes, she has these gorgeous pictures of her whole family. Every time I even say let's take a picture,
because you
I
always
get such backlash.
It's time for the Christmas card.
Yeah, it's I'm a mess over the Christmas card.
Well,
so.
Oh my God, nothing makes me angrier than Christmas card talk with you. But
I know.
I think that because
that I'm jealous of.
But no, because we say it.
We
it's
say it
not,
out loud. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it becomes then a joke, kind of. It does bother me so much, but it becomes a joke where I notice the same thing with Lucy, Maddie, and I. Like, we'll say things, but it's not passive.
No, it's not passive.
It's just like,
I
"Huh?"
like it makes me mad. Like
Yeah.
you are doing this perfect and I'm not.
Well, perfection
Perfection.
doesn't exist.
It
I
doesn't
love you.
exist. I love you too.
Thanks for
I
coming
love your
on.
kids. I
I
love
know
your
you
husband.
do.
I really love being in the presence of your family,
Thank you.
as I do with my other two daughters, but it's really fun to watch you build a family, build a home.
I know you and Dad sent very nice text messages the other day when you left.
Oh.
That you love being in our
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
And just, yeah.
It's a good house. It's
It
a good,
is. It's a great place to
yeah,
be.
a great place to be. I love you so much.
I love you so much.
I love your sisters so much.
Get this girl off the mic. No, I'm kidding. All right, I love you.
How do you say goodbye?
Just like that.
Like that? You just say bye?
Bye.
All right. See you later.